Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. The city of Chambersburg is located in Franklin County, Pennsylvania, in the south central part of the state. It's a small town that's seen some incredible action over the years. Originally occupying this area were the Shawnee, Iroquois, and Lenape Native Americans. The first settler and founder was Benjamin Chambers, who was with his 4 brothers, arrived in Pennsylvania from Ireland circa 1726. I'm not actually going to read all this to you. Chambers, who became a colonel and was noted for his, quote, good private fort, which was known then as Chambers Fort, 2 4-pound cannons, as well as his knowledge of the Indian language and numerous frontier skills. He was awarded a warrant for his land by the Penn family after the French and Indian War ended in 1763. And so, as people used the area to travel west to Pittsburgh and would grow to occupy and buy the land there, Chambersburg was formed. But on Saturday, July 30th, 1864, Confederate General John A. McCausland, under order of General Jubal Early of the rebel cause, rode to Chambersburg and demanded a tribute of either $100,000 worth of gold or $500,000 in straight cash. If the tribute wasn't paid, his orders were to burn the town to the ground. The rebel incendiary gave 15 minutes for the town to comply, and another 20 minutes past that to deliver the ransom. The order was declined, and the city was mostly burned to the ground by 11 a.m. Chambersburg residents began rebuilding immediately, but the crazy thing is, the Civil War was ended not even a year later, in May of 1865. So the city of Chambersburg has been through a lot. Its residents are aware of this. I stopped and talked to a few locals who live in the area, and I asked them about the Great Fire back in 1864, and each one of them knew of it. So they're intimately acquainted with the history of their beautiful and small town. I visit this city and its mall every summer when I play the music festival in Shippensburg, but I wanted to show you guys the actual city that this mall is attached to. And this is sort of a beta test, if you will, for something I'd like to do in the future. And if you want to skip this part, I totally understand. The mall is coming up in a few minutes. But I thought it'd be nice to show you guys the city that this is a part of. And it's adorable. It has tons of little coffee shops all over the place and these alleyways that are littered with little places for you to sit and hang out with your friends. And it even has chocolate-covered bacon. It's a great little city. One of the striking bits of art that I did notice in the city was this giant mural of mirrors and tiles and stone. And it caught my eye from way farther down the street, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. This is a really cool piece of art. But as with any city, as you start to venture out from the center part of it, you start to see some of the seedy parts. And I'm not saying that any part outside of Chambersburg is seedy. It's certainly not. It reminds me of a smaller version of York, Pennsylvania. But just like when a mall is starting to go under, you notice that the massage parlors start to move in. And right next to where we are right now, this is the Democratic headquarters, which is seemingly empty. But right next door is a shady massage parlor. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with all these massage parlors that come into malls, and once one of these moves in, I think that part of the street is sort of less desirable to live in. But now that we're venturing farther out from the city center, you can see that while the center of the city does have charm, we're starting to lose a bit of that charm as we move out. But this is Chambersburg, and I think it's a fascinating place. I think it's been through a lot, and I think that its residents are really proud, and I think it's beautiful. In 1982, Crown American developers built a mall just 7 miles from the city center. I covered this mall in episode 9 of the Expedition Log series. Then, as the 5th and final part to the 5,000 subscriber special, I'd like you to take a walk with me through Chambersburg Mall, now in 4K and produced as it should have been in episode 9. But first, a word from our sponsor, that incredibly awkward McDonald's commercial starring George Costanza, where he was advertising the burger that went in 2 halves of a styrofoam thing or something. I don't know what they were going for. You know the one.
Hey, you say you're getting tired of lettuce and tomato hamburgers that don't quite make it? Yeah! Then look at McDonald's new McDLT. I'm talking quarter pound of beef on the hot side. The new McDLT. Hot. Crisp lettuce and tomato on the cool side. The new McDLT. Cool crisp. The beef stays hot, the cool stays crisp. Put it together, you can't resist. Could be the best lettuce and tomato hamburger ever.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's new McDLT.
The Chambersburg Mall was built in 1982 by Crown American, and it was built on 63 acres of former farmland and orchards. At the dedication, the 2 senior anchors were Hess's and GB. The Carmike Cinema, which is actually right to our left, across from the former Bonanza, that was there at the dedication as well. A few years later, in 1985, Crown American scheduled an expansion, and they added on Irely's. Now Irely's, they would later become Bonton, as Bonton would consolidate and buy up their competition in the area. So the Irely's became Bonton. In 1990, Crown American added the 4th anchor, Sears. Sears had a location in downtown Chambersburg, but they decided to close up shop and bring it to the mall. This amazing mall. I'm pretty sure this mall still looks as it did back in the 1980s. I took a closer look at this mall this time around, and I noticed a few different things. First of which is there was a phone jack on this stage. And these incredible lights that you can see up in the top here, those were like the stage lights. If any of you have any experience seeing a production on this stage that used the phone jack and or those stage lights, you have to let me know in the comments. I need to hear about that. I give the full story of the Chambersburg Mall in episode 9 of the Expedition Log series, and I go over all the financial transactions and all the details, but in this one, I'll only give a light bit of history and more of my feel of the place. The mall sits in an incredibly dismal state right now. There's like no stores left. There was a couple awesome comic book shops that I would go to during the music festival here, but those are long gone, and most of these storefronts are just empty, and these mannequins are just left here to starve. This store was a bit of an enigma to me, Kids Corner. So apparently you can just go in, pay $5, and get like a grab bag of things. We're headed now down to the Burlington Coat Factory. The Burlington Coat Factory, that's occupying what once was the GB. GB occupied this space from 1982 until 1992, at which point a Value City moved in. Value City was there until 2008, at which point Burlington moved in. I love these end courtyards at either end of the mall. The greenery's so lush, and the skylights are incredible. It's a Crown American staple to have that big skylight with the trees so that they can get plenty of sunlight. But the mall has so much wood and neutral tones and those brown tiles. It's such an amazing time warp to check this mall out, and it's so patriotic. There's flags everywhere. It's a really great mall, and it's a shame that it's gotten to this point. But that's the way things are happening these days. There's a ton of development happening on either end of this. In Scotland, up near Shippensburg, and Chambersburg proper, there's a lot of development happening, and a lot of stores are moving in for more of a town center experience. But look at this, there's nothing here. I stood there and I took that shot for what was about 2 minutes. And of course I cut it down, but that's what I saw.
Think you've seen the ultimate Pizza Hut pan pizza?
You ain't seen nothing yet. From a baby, you just ain't seen nothing.
The new Grand Pan Pizza from Pizza Hut Delivery. The ultimate pan pizza with not 8, not 9, but 10 great toppings. Now get one Grand Pan Pizza for
I love the skylights in this mall. I'm a sucker for skylights in a mall. Especially that one. So we're gonna head into the Bonton because this is actually closing. The Bonton, which was the former Irely's, that's closing. And I think at the time this is now published, the Bonton is long gone. But I was here while it was shutting down, and everything was for sale. The fixtures, I bet if you made them an offer, they'd sell you paint. They would peel paint off of the walls. But this leaves the mall with two subpar anchors, Burlington and Black Rose Antiques. That's all that's left to hold up the Chambersburg Mall. I just can't see this mall lasting much longer. I want to, I love this mall, I think it's fantastic, but I can't see it lasting much longer. So right now we're in the old Hess Company wing. And again, Hess's was one of the original senior tenants back in 1982, but in 1992, JCPenney moved in. I love this courtyard. I think this courtyard is beautiful, especially because of how awesomely large the tree got here. God, look at that tree. It wants to burst out. It wants more sunlight. It wants the radiation. It needs to get out, but it never will. As much as I hate to say it, I think the Chambersburg Mall has a dismal future ahead of it. I've read reports of more robberies that have been happening and more stores that are leaving, and they're all looking for a brighter future, and I can't blame them. And you'll see a better view of it in just a second. But this JCPenney, this has been sitting abandoned since 2015. While I hope that the mall can survive, and I hope that they can revitalize it in such a way to bring more business into it, sometimes you just have to let it go and use that beautiful 63 acres of orchards and farmland for something that the people of that town want to see. I'd like to thank all of you for coming on this walk with me and for checking out the Chambersburg Mall for a second time. I especially want to thank all of my patrons. You'll see in the end credits, I'm going to list all the patrons because we're starting to get to a point where people donating to the channel are growing in numbers. I'd also like to thank everybody on the Discord server. If you'd like to join the Discord server, you'll find the link in the description below. You just click the link, download the app, and you're in. And it's a great place to catch up with some fellow creators like Jack from deadmalls.com, Anthony from Ace's Adventures, and a lot of really great people. But again, I'd like to thank all of you for helping the channel grow and for checking this video out. So if you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm starting to do more live streams, so make sure you have the notifications turned on so you know when I do that and when I upload more videos. So thanks again, everybody. Take care.